Hello, everybody. Sean Combs is brought in. So they got him here. They got him here today, y'all. He is brought in white hair and a short beard. His hair is fully white. Last time, I think it was like, silvery gray. But breaking news. You heard it here first. That Surprise Witness TV trademark. Okay, you heard it here first. Diddy has white hair and a short beard, chatting with his two lawyers at the defense table. There are 6 people at the prosecution table waiting for the judge. He must have been using the Just for Men, or he has stressed so significantly in the past 1 year that his hair has turned straight up white. Combs, have you seen the April 3rd indictment? Yes, I do, Judge. How do you plead? Not guilty. Then the judge looks to Mark Agnifilo and says, Mark Agnifilo, what can you tell me? And Agnifilo says, this superseding indictment has a substantial new charge. We'd like to discuss a 2-week postponement of openings. I knew it. I felt it. I felt it in my soul. Mark Agnifilo wants to discuss postponing the opening statements by 2 weeks due to, quote, discovery issues. I don't want to disrupt the jury selection process. And she says, I filed my letter under seal. The problem that we see is with discovery about alleged victim 2. Okay, so again, this is the second time we've had one of these pretrial hearings where they're talking about stuff that was filed under seal. So we, the public, we don't know what they're talking about. This lady, this lawyer, one of Diddy's lawyers, she filed a letter under seal, and she's predicting that they're going to have a problem with discovery regarding alleged victim number 2. Now, Mark Agnifilo says because of this, they want to discuss a 2-week postponement of opening statements. Now, opening statements right now are scheduled to begin on May 12th. The jury selection will begin on May 5th. So he's saying we want to still do jury selection, but then we want to just push everything else off by 2 weeks because of some victim 2 discovery issue, which is a secret from the public and is sealed as of right now. The lawyer says we've resolved that. Okay, so they resolved some issue having to do with the victim 2 discovery. She says, but the alleged victim of the forced labor predicate, she was employed there significant period of time. She has been small c cooperating with the U.S. She has taken screenshots, but the rest, the U.S. has not taken possession of. And previously, there was some type of issue that they were going to see coming up with victim 2. That's resolved. Now we have another issue because now with the superseding indictment number 3, the one we're here for arraignment on today, Diddy's lawyers are saying we have an issue with this indictment because it alleges a forced labor charge, which he hasn't previously been indicted on. And now this alleged so-called forced labor person, she's been kind of cooperating with the government, but not like capital C cooperating witness, confidential informant cooperating witness, signed papers, entered into agreement, but more just like, she's been cooperative with them. So because of that, they see an issue getting the discovery, the screenshots. This person was apparently an employee of Diddy for a long time. She is cherry picking messages, Diddy's lawyers are saying. There are 100,000 emails and messages the U.S. is not taking possession of. Combs Global was subpoenaed, but we don't have her company emails 3 weeks before trial. Wait a second. Is this Lou Taylor? Is this Lou Taylor? Combs Global? Wait. Is she turning on Diddy? I need a fan. Diddy's lawyer says she is cherry picking messages. Who's the forced labor? No, surely Lou Taylor isn't being forced labor. Maybe it's Christina Karam. I don't know who's her company emails, y'all. Who's cherry picking messages? This is either victim 3 or 4, somebody who was employed for a significant period of time. It's hard to know what's going on here, y'all, because what's being talked about in court right now is the subject of a sealed letter. So the judge and the lawyers all have information amongst them that we don't have. So we are just having to kind of piece it together. Diddy's lawyers are saying we have an issue. We may need to ask for 2 extra weeks before opening statements because we have a discovery problem. It's 3 weeks before trial. There's hundreds of thousands of emails, messages, 100,000 emails and messages. The U.S. has like a couple emails or a couple text messages from this alleged forced labor person, and we need all of it. And how are we going to get it? So that seems to be what Diddy's lawyers are concerned about. They seem to be asking if they can push it off for 2 weeks. There are 3 screenshots of an incident that will be discussed at trial. 3 screenshots of an incident that will be discussed at trial. But the government now tells us she no longer has the whole WhatsApp chat. We're trying to wrap our arms around this. We're in an untenable position. We have Diddy's lawyers talking about something that was previously sealed from the public, but we are getting a little insight here. There's going to be some screenshots of an incident we're going to see at trial, or we're not going to see them. They're going to be discussed. But the government now tells us that this forced labor trafficking victim, allegedly, that she no longer has the whole WhatsApp chat. She only has screenshots that are really incriminating. We're trying to wrap our arms around this, Diddy's lawyers are saying. We don't like, what are you just going to bring in this out of context evidence, is what Diddy's lawyers are kind of arguing. They don't have the emails from the company. The judge says, You call your request unusual, but the government calls it unprecedented. Can you cite a case? The judge is asking for some case law. He can't just go willy-nilly making his own rules. He would rather follow, case law, res judicata. Diddy's lawyer says there's an Avenatti case before Judge Foreman. Here, the harm is very great. The judge said can be weighed in the Nixon factors. The judge is basically just inquiring on the legalities of what Diddy's lawyers are asking for, which is possibly up to 2 weeks postponing the opening statements of trial. Mark Agnifilo entering the chat. He says, I'm not sure the possession of the materials is the whole ball game. He's like, I'm not even sure we can stop it at just like possessing the materials. Like we have some more issues going on. But the next statement we have is coming from the government, the feds, Christy Slavic. She says this arraignment was supposed to be later in the week. On Saturday, 2 days ago, today's Monday, on Saturday, we learned that Diddy might be seeking an adjournment of the trial. This is not new conduct. The judge asks to the feds, would the government object to an adjournment on the discovery issues? And the fed says, yes, we would object. We don't want that 2 weeks. No, we object. We told that our review of the victim 2's iCloud is complete. On victim 4, a month ago, we learned of additional emails, for example, to the defendant and others, but they would still object to an adjournment on discovery issues. They're saying there doesn't need to be any 3-week discovery. Garrett goes to say that they were expecting to come in today and have to talk about something about victim 2, but that's resolved. Instead of talking about victim 2, now we're talking about, I think, victim 4. The government is not in possession of all these emails, nor are we in control of them. The judge says, okay, yeah, but is there law addressing that issue? That even if the government could get the emails, it's not control? Yes, we could get the court law on that after this hearing. Well, the judge is saying, okay, I'm not going to take your word for it, feds. Can you give me some case law that says what you're saying? Yeah, the feds just said, yeah, we could get you the case law after the hearing. The judge said what terms were searched. The assistant U.S. attorney said the defendant's name and some victims' names. The victim is represented by counsel. The discussion at hand here pertains to some sealed documents. There was a letter filed. It was sealed. So we're not exactly sure what's being talked about, but it's something to do with WhatsApp screenshots, messages. Something was searched. I don't know what the judge is precisely asking or why he's asking it, but the victim is represented by counsel. Diddy doesn't have your communications with them. The counsel, the lawyers. If you turned them over, it would obviate the need for adjournment. So the judge is saying, Judge Subramanian is saying to the assistant U.S. attorney, why don't you just turn over your communications with the victim, the alleged purported victim's lawyer? Then there wouldn't need to be any adjournment. They would have everything you have. I think, make sure y'all get y'all's merch too. They lied. They already received our enterprise letter. This is the feds talking about Diddy's lawyer. And they got our 3,500 materials. If Diddy and them are going to move for a 30-day or for a 2-week postponement/adjournment, they should make an application before this Friday's conference or sooner. The judge says, if you make a defense, and he looks over to Diddy's lawyers, if you make a request, make it a rifle shot. What does that mean, Judge Subramanian? Judge Subramanian, yes, come through. He said, quote, we are a freight train moving toward trial. If you are going to move for an adjournment, it will have to be in the next 48 hours. Let's turn to the enterprise letters. Has Diddy's lawyer, Teeny Garagos, saying as to victim number 5, that's going to be Alexandra Shapiro's argument, and she's not here today, but she'll be on Friday. So the judge is like, okay, so the victim 5 argument, we'll do that on Friday. But I'll note, the judge says, quote, that the government might have applied to me to amend the enterprise letter. Again, they are going to trial in 3 weeks. I hope that the enterprise letter has the co-conspirators because, I haven't heard any of them. Okay, so there's another tweet. The assistant U.S. attorney has said that is not the usual practice in Southern District of New York and Eastern District of New York, but we can do that. On 404B, if you can give us guidance for Friday, it would help. The judge said, I'll put myself on the 48-hour clock. So the judge is going to give the feds some guidance. Okay, so the judge adjourned. The court is adjourned. See you Friday, court adjourned. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. So the problem is that there's so much stuff under seal. Who's victim 5? This seems new. Diddy has white hair. That was new. It's not gray anymore. It's white. Alexandra Shapiro is the victim 5 arguer, but she's not here today. We had something about not being able to get into email accounts. We had victim 4, I believe, maybe it was 3, but there's a victim who was forced into forced labor, allegedly, according to the feds. And this purported so-called victim is in possession of some screenshots that might come up at trial. But Diddy's lawyers want those messages and stuff. And the government's like, well, we don't have those messages. And Diddy's lawyers are like, well, how do we know that? So they're kind of going back and forth on that. The only thing that got for sure decided today is Diddy pled not guilty. Side of your neck like house to the roof in flame. Kids these days so shameless.